Hello and welcome to the A to Z show. Today, I have with me an interesting guest. I think I came by his Instagram when he visited Ghana and made a post about his experience. And I was like, hey, pop in, let's talk about your experience. And he was like, wait a minute, I have something exciting coming up. So let's wait till it happens and we have a lot more to talk about. So today in the studio with me is Andre Fluellen.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about something that he just experienced and more. So stick and stay. We'll be right back. So welcome back, Andre.
Hey,
Akwaba.
Accra. Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Medasa.
Medasa.
Yeah. Did I said that right?
Yeah, you said it right.
Okay.
So, I mean, you mentioned to me a few weeks ago that you're going to be a studio development chief in an area within the central region. Has it happened?
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Yeah. So Saturday, over the weekend, 19th of April, it happened, and I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. Like I didn't know what all goes into a whole process of installing somebody into becoming a chief. They said they hadn't installed anybody in like the last 2 years or something like that for a different position, but yeah, it was great. The people, it was a lot of people. They were wearing T-shirts with my face on it, so it felt a little weird. I was like, oh, okay, this is something big. Like pamphlets. They even had posters and billboards. I'm like, I've never had this before. Like, this is crazy. So, but yeah, like it's one of those things where like I came to my first time coming to Ghana was 2022 with my friend Rashid. Shout out to Rashid. And I really love the culture. I love the people. Like everybody was like really respectful. Like and I was like, well, I feel at home here. It feels really cool and it feels like I could do some things beyond just being a tourist here. So I didn't really think about what I would do later on. I just like at first I was just touring, and then that led to fast forward to like how the idea came was probably like November of 2024. I have a friend named Dennis Bentel. He's from Cape Coast, and he's a filmmaker, and I'm an actor. And so I was on one of his projects, and we were just talking in passing, and I was like, yeah, I went to Ghana back in 2022, and I really fell in love, and I would love to get a passport and become a dual citizen.
This is Bentel, the one that does the sort of situational.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I'm familiar with his work.
Okay, good. So so I had mentioned in passing, and then he was like, my dad's like the big chief in Cape Coast. I was like, oh really? Okay, well, all right. He was like, well, I'll give you his number and you guys can talk and figure it out. And I was like, okay. So then I contacted Nana, and so I went up and we were just having conversations throughout the months. And he was like, well, we're on the phone. He's like, hey, he's like, you can do your, citizenship one way, the mainstream way, or you can do it a different way. I was like, all right, what's the different way? He's like, become a chief. I said, of what? I'm like, what? Like, aren't you the chief? Like, how does this work? Like, there's a chief, and then I found out it was like, oh, the chief over this department and that department. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. So then I was like, all right, cool. So that sounds cool. Why not? So, and then like I came in March of this year, and I finally met him, Nana, up there, and it was my first time in Cape Coast. Long drive, like it was supposed to be 3 hours.
So technically,
on paper.
It's not that long, but the roads are being fixed, and so it's made it quite long.
Yes.
Because I schooled in Cape Coast and had not been back to school a very long time until March as well. And I was like, look at the road now. So I think that's what made it very long. But technically on paper.
On paper it's 3 hours, three and a half, but it was really like 4.5, getting close to 5. But anyways, and I didn't know that, like, when I first, like, because I took a Uber to get up there.
Oh.
And that was an experience because like like the guy kept rolling down the windows, and I was like, "What are you rolling on the window? Like dust is getting in my eyes. I'm not wearing my sunglasses. Like, can you please roll the window up?" And so like we get there finally, and he was like, at the end of the ride, he's like, "Oh yeah, there's another charge. You need to give me more money." I'm like, "For what?" He was like, "Oh, because we use AC." I'm like, "You never told me that. AC? There's a charge for AC now?"
Welcome to Ghana.
Because I'm like, I've done Uber driving before. I'm like, I've never charged anybody for AC, so that's ridiculous. But we didn't pay him. I was like, if you had told me that, we could have worked something out. But you didn't tell me that till the end, so no, like that's not cool. So, anyways, so we met with the Central Region Minister. We had a lot of business up there, and then he was just saying, "All right, cool. You know, your installation will take place here, and once you do that, you buy land, and then you can, find a way to become a dual citizen." So,
Cool.
yeah.
So, what's the title that you have? What's it called, and which area are we looking at?
The full name is Nana Kwame Foya the first, but I'm a development chief of the Ekoo community, or the Ekoo Village in Cape Coast. So it's a small village club in Cape.
And what's your understanding of this title? What's your responsibility? What do you hope to achieve with it?
Yes. So what the position is basically like you as a development chief, you come into the community and you find ways to you're over an NGO or a nonprofit, and you try to find ways to uplift the community by bringing funds. Like you can, you set up the NGO, or you have people from America, Europe, whoever wants to contribute, and you manage it and you use those funds to give back to the community. If they need a water well, if they need electricity, if they need Wi-Fi, whatever they need. Kids need shoes and clothes, school supplies, things like that. So that's just a basic understanding of what it is. But when I was talking with Nana, I was like, yeah, like, cause like when people ask me like, what are your visions for like the community? Like I had somebody else interview me before, like the day of the installation on Saturday, and he asked me that. I was like, well, I don't want to answer that just yet, because like I want to get a chairman's list of what the needs are in the community before I just say, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. Like I want to know what the people actually need before I just like shove myself on them and tell them, hey, I'm giving you this, I'm giving you that.
Yeah.
Like no, like you got to find out what do the people need specifically, because they may have a unique need in their culture, in their group, in their part of town that may be different from what you envision. So after I had a first preliminary conversation with the chairman, he was just telling me, just to start off, it was like maybe some clothes, shoes, supplies for the kids. I was like, okay, cool, yeah, that sounds reasonable. But I had talked to Nana afterwards. I was like, I don't have a problem with the clothes and shoes, and I feel like that's very typical things to Americans, give every year. But I was like, I think we could do more. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause it's like if you give a man a fish today, they'll eat today.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens when the person goes back to America, or they go back and forth, and then you're gonna need more clothes when the clothes wear out, the shoes wear out. Then you're gonna need more shoes and clothes. So then what? So I was like, what if we have a focus on education, empowering people to, make stuff themselves so they can sell it for commerce, so that brings money to the community that way too. That's another way. I don't have a problem with clothes and shoes, but we go focus on education too. My parents were all about education.
Mm-hmm.
And like my mom was a teacher and for like 35 years, and my parents always focused on education. So I hope to at least start with that, like, providing, creating ways that people can build businesses for themselves so they can uplift themselves, and they don't have to rely on Americans or people who are dual citizens to, uplift their own community from which they came from. Like, I want to be a part of it, but I'm talking about the people who are actually born in that community. You know what I mean?
Okay. I mean, is this the first time you're doing something of this nature?
Yes.
Like giving back, working?
Not giving back, but I would say working as like with this kind of title and like this kind of status, I would say, and doing the giving back, like adding together. but not first time giving back. Like I've done like all kind of work before. Like when I was in college, I led and was working with mission teams, and it was a Christian college called Harding University in Arkansas, and during like they had like spring break campaigns and like summer things that they would do with friends and other colleagues, and you would go over to like I'll go to like Jamaica, Bahamas. We work with churches and schools and work with the community to find ways to benefit the kids, the youth, spreading the gospel, and also providing supplies, needs, painting the school, flowers, all that stuff, planting plants around the building. But so throughout my life, like in church and like through school and all that stuff, I would like my family always instilled in me to always like find a need to like give back to people, because people have poured into me throughout my life, through my church community, through my school, sports community, and so I want to give back. And I just always had that mentality to give back to people.
Okay, and you did mention earlier that you were also an actor.
Yes.
When did that start? What have been some of the productions you've been on so far?
Yeah, so I started that like in 2022. I've had some things that kind of like led up to that point, and I remember I had like to kind of summarize. I'm gonna try to summarize the story really quick, but I've never told it publicly like this. The idea came like the end of December 2021, and then I had a friend that in 2022 January, she was like, "Hey, there's this acting class. You should check it out." I like never been to an acting class before. I've done podcasting, so I have no problem talking to a camera. I've done my major in college was public speaking, so I have no problem doing theater. So I have no problem doing that stuff. But actual in a setting like that, I've never done it. So I went to the class, and they like judge you in different like aspects, and the activity was like, you're doing a mock audition. This group is doing like Michelin tires, and then this group is doing like Subway. I was in the Subway group, and they judge you on different things: know your lines, fluency, confidence, ability to switch emotions on command. And after they scored us all in that group, I ended up scoring first place. I had never done an acting class in my life. That was my first acting class. I'm like, oh, maybe I have something there for this. So then that was like January 2022. Fast forward to like November. I remember the exact day. Saturday, November 19th, 2022. I knew I was supposed to be an actor, because that day, like my day job, working as in the airlines, I was working a flight from Atlanta to LA. On that plane, I had one guy from like the show Blackish on ABC. He ended up talking to me, just like, it wasn't one of those things where like, sometimes people with like stature, they'll say hi, and they'll like, oh, it was nice meeting, and they'll keep it moving, they'll keep it quick. He was like really, really engaging and really talking and really pouring into me. I was like, oh wow, okay, I didn't expect all this. But he shook my hand at the end of the conversation, and he said, I'll see you on set one day. And I said, yes, you will. And I was like, he sat down. I'm about to walk out of first class. I see this blonde lady with a really thick script like this, and I'm like, I'm curious now. I'm like, so what script is that, if you don't mind me asking? She was like, oh, have you ever heard of a movie called Woman King? I was like, yeah, it was pretty good. But she was like, yeah, it was me that produced it. I produced it. I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. That's awesome. So then the plane lands in LA. We drop them off, and we fly from LA to Vegas. We're getting off the plane, and we're heading up the escalator, going to the shuttle to their hotels. One of my coworkers, she's about my parents' age, like, she's like, mid 50s, early 60s, whatever. Her phone rings. It's Blame It on the Alcohol by Jamie Foxx. And I'm over here like, arms crossed, like, yo, like, no disrespect, man, but when I have kids, I would think that that's going to be like what I call old school music to them. And I'm thinking for you, maybe Earth, Wind and Fire, Frankie Beverly, something like that, Luther Vandross. But like, she was like, my son actually wrote that song for Jamie Foxx. Oh. And I was like, oh, excuse me then. I'm sorry. You know what, proceed. She was like, yeah, my son, Grammy Award winning writer, blah, 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 blah. I was like, oh, wow, really cool. So he has ties to music and the film, commercials, TV shows, movies, all this music has been, on all those kind of mediums. And she was telling me about this other flight attendant who also worked at the same company, who somehow networked with her son and booked some really cool Netflix show or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's really encouraging to see another flight attendant doing the same thing. And like literally not even 30 minutes after that conversation, one of my friends who's a writer back in Atlanta, she hit me up. She was like, Carmen, you know you are. She had messaged me on Instagram. It wasn't like a, hey, how are you doing? Just want to catch up with you text. It was just literally a link, not even hi, just a link. I clicked the link. It's an acting class. I was like, how does she know that all this happened? Like, there's no way that 4 things happened in one day, Saturday, November 19th, 2022. I'm like, all right, God, I get it.
Calling.
I get it. But yeah, I'm just like, all right, cool. I'm gonna take this seriously. So that's kind of how it started.
Good.
But some productions that I've been on. So I was on like some crime show that was on like TV1 network called Payback. A couple of movies coming out that are gonna be on Tubi. One will be produced by Dennis Bentel, and that should be coming out this summer. I don't want to say the wrong date because he might have to push back. So I'm gonna say summer. Yeah, this summer.
Okay.
Another movie is called Charlotte's Web. Well, I'm sorry. Let me cross back. So that movie by Dennis Bentel is called Cross Boundaries. It's a Christian film, and summer. But this fall/winter, we have a movie on Tubi as well called Charlotte's Web. I'm playing as a police officer. I've never played a police officer before, so that was pretty cool. So a few more productions coming up, but those are the ones that are coming up on the horizon. So
Good.
Yeah.
And I mean, while you've been in Ghana, anything caught your eye in terms of film production yet?
Well, to know that Idris Elba wants to build a 22-acre film studio here is really cool. That's encouraging because, like, I feel like there's so much talent in Africa and West Africa, specifically. That seems to be like the growing market because Nigeria is leading the way right now. But I think Ghana, if they really focus, they could really, kind of get up there and compete with Nigeria as well. And I think with Idris Elba kind of leading that charge, he could revamp and revive that, like that spark that could just light something and bring some light to the film community here. That's one thing. And then one time, like, cause me and you met on Instagram Threads. That's a great app, by the way. The best networking app right now, in my opinion. Because we don't do X because Elon Musk owns that. But anyways, so I met these guys on Instagram Threads, and I made a post on Instagram Threads. I was like, hey, I'm coming to Ghana on March the 10th, 2025. Hey, anybody who wants to meet up, I'd love to grab a drink on a rooftop or whatever. And so we met up, some guys, we all met up, filmmakers. We did a video call when I arrived, and then we just figured out time, and we just discussed about, like, all right, what are the cultural differences, and like how do people in America approach film, whether it be actors or stage crew or film crew, how do they approach it, and whether were some similarities, were some differences, and what can we do to work together maybe. And so we were just like understanding each other and just understanding how things are here, and it was just cool to kind of get a breakdown of that understanding. And so I was like, yeah, we really can do some things here because there are so many talented people that they just need opportunity. That's all it is. So sometimes people they have what it takes inside, but they just need the platform.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's been a good year for you. You've been institute or a chief.
Yeah.
You have movies coming up. Yes. What else should we watch out on the horizon for you?
As an actor, I realized one thing too. You are if we're to be honest, I would say a dependent position where you're depending on somebody to like your audition tape. You're depending on somebody to like you, your personality, to even hire you on set. I think one of the things on my horizon is just like focusing on on producing content myself as well. I don't have a problem with being on people's projects. I love to collaborate with other people. But I think one of the biggest things that's on my horizon is digging deeper digging deeper into that filmmaking to directing, producing, because in today's world, we're so competitive. You do have to like create your own films to create your own opportunities so that you can hire yourself. So that, I would say that's what I'm kind of focusing on more. Not just the acting, but also like producing and directing as well.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot for coming through, Andre. And I mean, you can follow the story. I'll give you his handles on the screen so that you can know how to follow the growing story of Andre. Do have a safe flight back, and we'll be keeping an eye out on all the things you'll be doing in this community back in Central as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate you.
Pleasure.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. See you. Same time. Bye-bye.